Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Let's scoot this back here and possibly make adjustments. There we go. There we go. All right, welcome back. So today we're going to be doing color mixing. And Dre, you might be asking, what is this paper? This is the 2 times that I have tried to record this video that my phone has stopped on me. So we're going to do this all over again, and hopefully it goes well this time. For cleaning your brushes, just get a plastic cup of water that you can use specifically for your paints. Excuse me. I've got my red, my blue, and my yellow. I've got my palette knife somewhere, my palette knife. This is what we're going to be using to mix the paint. If you do not have a palette knife, please get one. Just spend the extra money, get a palette knife. It'll make things so much easier when it comes to blending and keeping your colors situated nice and organized and not messing up the brushes that you have by getting paint all caked in at the bottom and stuff like that here. You don't want that. Also, when you need to clean your brushes at the end of the day, at the end of each paint session, warm water and some soap and just go like that, get all that paint out, and then let them dry laying down like this on a paper towel or whatever. I have a rag to wipe my palette knife on and to wipe my brushes on. You can use paper towels. I do have those as well, which I'll probably be using. But that's what we're going to be working with. I have, we're not going to be working with white and black this time, just because the video is going to take too long. So I'll do a separate video specifically talking about mixing mixing grayscale colors with the black and the white. So let's get started. All right. So first thing we're going to do, like I said, we've got our blue, we've got our red, we've got our yellow. We're going to work with color mixing and go from there. So first, what we're going to do, these are what you call your primary colors. These are your primary colors. We're going to blend these colors, mix these colors so that we can create secondary colors. There's some other colors as well that we can make from those, and we'll talk a little bit about that, but I just want to talk about the basics of color mixing to begin with. So right now we're going to go into our blue, and we're just going to put a small, you can do a little circle blue. Doesn't have to be perfect. This is just for your reference, your personal reference, so that way you can reference this later on down the road if you need it, if you need to remember colors. So we have our blue. I've cleaned my brush. We're going to do red. I'm going to do red right here. Clean my brush. You want to make sure that after you clean your brush, you wipe it on a napkin or a rag or something, and make sure you get any excess water off, and make sure that there's no hidden paint within the brush. We're going to do yellow. We're going to do that over here. And I'm going to talk about yellow real quick. Yellow, as far as I know, and all the yellows that I have worked with, yellow is very transparent and a very weak color. So it does not take much of any of these other colors to make a color shift with yellow. And I'm going to be demonstrating that for you guys. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to work with blue and yellow, and we're going to see what that makes. Well, I know what it makes, but you're going to see what it makes if you don't know. So we're going to take a bunch of yellow, and we're going to make sure we get as much off the palette knife as we can. I'm going to take my napkin and just scrape my palette knife off to make sure that it's clean, free of paint, wet paint anyway. I'm going to take a small bit of blue, and this is how much blue I'm taking. That is genuinely how much you need to make this. You don't even need that much, but this is how much I'm going to take because I want to try to create as much of a neutral green, because blue and yellow make green if you didn't know. I'm going to try to make much of a neutral green as I possibly can with the type of yellow and blue that I have. This is what I'm going to say as I'm mixing this. As you mix the paint, if you feel that the color is too dark or too light for you, add a little bit at a time whatever you think you need. If the color is too light, you're going to add a little bit of blue. If the color is too dark, the green is too dark, you're going to add more yellow. And this is how I'm mixing the paint. I'm scraping up and smushing down to make sure that I'm getting all of the paint that I possibly can. See, there's that hidden blue in there. That's why I scrape from both sides, to make sure that I am mixing that in there. Scraping, see, still more of that blue. So to make this neat, I'm going to, this is my scraper that I use to make my clean my palette. I'm going to scrape as much of this paint off onto the palette knife. That's why I like a palette knife. I'm going to scrape this excess paint off, and then I can just lay this down right there in a nice clean pile of fresh mixed paint. And it's not all over my mixing palette. So we have as much of a neutral green as I could possibly get without going too dark or too light. So what I'm going to do, I have a clean brush, and this is my quarter brush, my 1/4 inch brush. I'm going to go in the middle of that yellow and that green. And I want to make this a little bit thicker because, like I said, that yellow is very transparent. So I'm going to try to just make it a little bit thicker. We're going to clean that brush off. And you can make notes to yourself, guys. So what I'm going to do, so if you want to mark your paper that you're using, and I forgot to tell you, I forgot to tell you, I'm just using the mixed media paper that I have, the mixed media paper. But if you want to mark these, I'm going to put a P next to the blue, a P next to the yellow, and a P next to the red for primary. Those are your primary colors. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make 2 different colors out of this particular green. So I'm going to take some green that I've already mixed, and I'm going to put that right here. I'm going to take some more, and I'm going to put that right here. And we're going to make a bluish green, because we're going to put more green or more blue into this green. That's why I have that here. And then we're going to make a yellow green. We're going to put more yellow into this green to make a color shift. And you will be able to see that here. So we're going to do the yellow first. I'm going to clean my palette knife. I'm going to put this here so you guys can actually see. Actually, I might put it right here because it's easier for me. I'm going to put up I'm going to get a good amount of yellow, because I say yellow is a very weak color. And I really want you guys to see the shift of this green here. And I'm going to give you guys an assignment to do at the end of this video. And I'm going to give you guys my Instagram that you guys can tag me in. So that way I can see what you guys have done. And if you guys need feedback or if you have any questions, I will give that for you. Or if you have any questions, you can just leave that on the video. So here's my palette. I'm gonna wipe my palette off. I'm gonna get my clean brush. I'm going to take a little bit and I'm gonna go right between that green and that yellow. And you can clearly see that difference in the paint, right? So I'm gonna clean my brush off. Like I said, that's why I like the palette knife, because see how easy it is for me to keep my palette nice and clean. I am not one of those people that is that I guess is a messy artist. I do like to have some type of organization when it comes to my supplies and my my art desk while I'm doing stuff. So a little bit of blue, very little bit of blue here. I'm going to mix it in with this green that I have here. And we're going to see that shift. See, didn't take much because that blue is going to overpower that yellow. And there wasn't much to begin with the amount of paint that I had to be mixed with. So some scraping. I'm laying it down to make sure. And I'm squishing it in there. And it's okay to be rough. You're not going to hurt anything. You're not going to hopefully break your palette knife unless you're, you know, hulking it out. You don't need to be that rough with it, but you do need to be a little bit forceful. That's why I said to get a metal palette knife, because they are these tips are flexible. It's very flexible. So we're going to pick this up. Got my clean brush here. And we're going to lay that right here. And you can see that difference between these two greens. And honestly, I'm going to do a second coat on this one. So, just because that white is peeking through a lot more. And I actually might add a little bit more green. Oh, there's that. That sucks. All right, it's fine though. That's fine. It happens. It happens. It's no big deal. Okay, so I'm going to add some of this leftover green. I'm going to add this to this that I have because I feel like that's more yellow than green that I would like. So that's fine. I'm just going to add this, and that's fine. The one thing while I'm mixing this, I will say, don't be afraid to start over, remix stuff, try new things, try new mixes, see what you get, and make notes to yourself. Like if I wanted to make a note on this, I would probably say, you know, too yellow, and then maybe do a second try right here to try to get that yellow green that I like, that I'm happy with. And depending on the yellows, or depending on the yellow, the blue, and the red that you pick, there we go. That's a lot better. That's a lot better. Your greens and your blues and your yellows and your reds and the other colors that we're going to mix are most likely not going to match up exactly because of the different shades of yellow, or the different types of yellow, the different types of red, the different types of blue out there, and that is okay. So we're going to work with red now, red and yellow. If you don't know what red and yellow make, actually, start with the yellow first. We're going to get a nice amount of yellow here. Now, once again, that yellow is a weak color, that red is a strong color. We're going to take a little bit of red. That's how much red I have. We're going to see what this color makes and how quickly it changes that yellow. So see, now we've got an orange. And see, the reason I'm constantly pushing hard is because you see how as I'm doing this, there's this like these bits of like unmixed red within the paint. You want to make sure you're getting all that. So that's why I'm constantly scraping up and putting it back down and squishing, because look, there's still some unblended red in there. But this is about as neutral of an orange as I can get with these colors. That's about as neutral as I can get without going too dark or too bright. And I'm gonna pick this up. And this is just for me. If you don't want to keep your palette clean, or if you don't want to, you know, constantly pick up and put down your paint to clean your palette, you don't have to. That's just me. And I think it helps look more presentable for you guys and a lot easier for you guys to see, especially when we start mixing like stuff like this. This I'll leave because I'll probably end up scraping that off in a second. But at least when I'm mixing the color that I'm mixing now. So we've got this orange. We're gonna put that, oh, too much paint. We're gonna put that right here. A nice neutral orange. And we're gonna do the same thing that we did with that green. Is we're going to make, we're just gonna do it with the orange. We're going to make a reddish orange, which will go right here, and a more yellow orange, which will go right here. And if you start mixing the colors, you realize like, well, hey, that orange that I put there for the secondary, the orange, that's actually too dark when I start mixing these. That's okay. Wait for that to dry. Make a new batch of orange. Adjust the coloring by adding more yellow, and then paint over it. How you adjust the colors is if it's too dark, like, okay, for this green, for instance, if it's too dark and you're trying to make it a neutral, you would just add more yellow. If it's too light, you would just add more blue. Same with the orange. If it's too dark, you would just add more yellow. If it's too light, then you would just add more red to make it a little bit darker. So what we're gonna do, you know, like we did last time, there's that orange there. And there's that orange there. I'm gonna take a bunch of yellow because, like I said, yellow is a weak color, so it's gonna take more to change, to make this color shift. Put that in, and we're going to mix it. So I'm gonna scrape this down. See, I'm pushing that down. I'm picking it back up and laying it back down to make sure I mix that paint as well as I possibly can. And I'm going to, once again, clean this off. And you see how different this orange, pick this up here. You see how different that orange is from that orange. So we're gonna pick this up. And we're going to lay it right here between the yellow and the orange because we've got a yellow orange. There we go. Clean my brush off. I'm going to do a second coat on this one just because that white is peeking through. So I'm going to go back to that original orange that I still have. And I'm just going to add a second coat because that's pretty much dry, to darken that up so it's more, you can see it more versus that white peeking through and not giving you the true color of that orange. So once again, we're gonna add red, right? So we're gonna pick just a little bit. And when I say just a little bit, I mean, because I don't have that much orange here, that's as much red as I'm picking up for right now. And I'm going to put it in there, and we're going to see how much of a shift it makes. If it's not as much of a shift as I would like, I would just add more red. I would just add more red, which I might do, maybe. So I'm going to scrape this up, put it back down. It's not as much as I would like, so I'm going to pick up just a little bit more. A little bit more red, and lay it down there. And I'm glad I didn't add enough right on that because I want you guys to be able to see me make those adjustments as needed. You know, scraping it up, laying it back down. Scraping it up, laying it back down. And you can see that shift right there, right? You can definitely see that shift with these three different oranges that I have going on here. So you've got your regular orange, you've got your yellow orange, and then you've got your red orange. You can clearly see those different three. So clean brush here, make sure I'm still recording, and then we're gonna go right here, and you can see that color change. Definitely clear that this has more of a reddish tint than this one. And then I'm gonna clean my brush. And so this part, I'm going to do a second layer on this one because I said just because yellow is very transparent, I want you guys to have a better view of what that color is going to look like. I'm going to go over the areas that are dry. And then I've actually even probably go over this one again too. Just so you guys have a better idea. So that helps. And when that one dries up a little bit, I'll add another coat as well of this one. So that way, actually I'll probably just put on a little bit thicker. So that way you guys can see that shift right there. All right, so we've got blue, blue green, green, green yellow or yellow green, yellow, yellow orange, orange, red orange, and red. So now we're going to do, I don't think that's red enough. I think I got a little bit of purple in there. Well, this is a different, this is a cadmium red, dark hue, I think. Yeah, deep. This is a cadmium red deep hue, so it's a darker red than normal. So now we're gonna do blue and red. So move this real quick. Got my palette knife. Now these two colors, depending on the red, depending on the blue that you have, one might be more powerful than the other. It's going to be a guessing game until you learn how to mix these colors a little bit better. So I've got my blue. I've got my red here. And we want to try to get as much of a neutral purple as we possibly can. If you feel like that's too red, then you're going to add a little bit more blue. If you feel like it's too blue, you're going to add a little bit more red. See how I'm scraping that and then shoving it down because I really want to make sure I mix this paint well. Because this one's going to be a little bit harder to kind of get, I feel, for most beginners. So I feel like it's a little bit more black. I'm looking right now. I feel like it's a little bit more blue than anything. So I'm going to add a little bit more red. I'm going to add a little bit more red here. But, so, there we go. And I want you guys to see me mix real time so you guys can see what I'm doing here. All right. I think that's about as neutral as I can get. So I'm going to get some of this purple here. And we're going to put it right here. I feel like that is as neutral as I can most likely possibly get. So I'm going to scrape this color up because I'm going to clean this. And just being able to lay down a flat pile of color after you clean it. It makes things look so much nicer. I think for me anyway, it looks better on my palette. All right, so we're gonna do the same thing that we did with these. We're gonna split this up. I've got purple here, purple here. All right, and now we're going to get my palette off so there's no paint. We're gonna add some red. I'm gonna add a good amount of red, but not too much. And we're gonna mix that, and we're gonna make sure we mix that really nice. And hopefully you can even see on camera just the shift change and how different this purple is from the previous one, and how it's got more of a red tint to it. And like I said, guys, if you need to, make notes to yourself on your thing. If you feel like, oh, you know, I only added a hint of red, then put that if you need to, if it helps. So that way you know for the future when you're doing colors what you need to do, or what hints you can give yourself to make sure that you're getting something similar. So, also don't leave your paints in the water. Try not to do that, guys, because it will damage the brushes over time. I'm gonna pick up that reddish purple, and I'm gonna lay that down. And you see how much different it is from this purple up here. All right? You can definitely see the difference. At least I can see it on paper anyway. You'll be able to see it on your paper as well. If you feel like the shift isn't large enough, wait until that dries, make a new, add more red, mix it in, wait for this to dry, and then paint over that. Or just paint next to it and just make a note to yourself. So we've got the purple here. We're gonna add some blue. That's too much blue. Too much blue. That should be enough blue. And we're gonna mix here. If you guys have any questions when it comes to mixing paint, mixing these colors, please let me know. Also, like I said, depending on the type of blue, yellow, and red that you get, do not expect the colors your colors to look exactly the same as mine. So we're gonna pick this up. I'm going to, I feel like that's as good as a purple blue as I can get. Lay that down here. I'm gonna clean this off. Yeah, that's a nice purple blue. That's a nice purple blue. Clean brush. And we're just going to put it right here. Now, if that's not purple enough for you, what you can do is, instead of trying to add more red to it, just pick up more of the purple that you have from what you've created here and just mix that in to that purple that you already, that blue purple, and that should work. So we've got all these colors. So primary is your blue, your red, your yellow. Your secondary colors, so I'm just gonna put second, is gonna be your green, your neutral purple, and your neutral orange. And then you have the shifts in between. Now we're going to talk about brown. We're going to make a brown, and then I'm going to give you guys an assignment to work on. Brown is a combination of all three. So I'm going to go here. We're going to make brown. Blue. I'm going to get more yellow because I'm out. Red. I'm actually going to take some of this blue out because I feel like that's too much. I'm going to pour more yellow out. I'm going to take a good portion of yellow because these other colors are powerful. And we're gonna mix that all together. And then after we do this brown, I'm going to give you guys your assignment that you're going to do. And actually, I think I want a little bit more blue. You want to try to get as much of a neutral blue as possible, or brown as possible, sorry. I think I need a little bit more red, and it's going to be just playing around. Ask yourself, what do you think that color needs? Add it and see if that was right. If not, you can always just try again. It's okay. If you don't have, I want to do this. So if you don't have like a scraper like I have, just take a paper towel, clean off that area, and then you can lay it back down. So that's the brown. That's as neutral as I'm going to try to get it right now. I'm going to take my brush. I'm just going to make circle here. Boom. That's our brown. All right. So this is the basics of color mixing. And this is what I want you guys for you to do for your assignment. Yes, there's an assignment. Welcome to learning how to paint. I want you, similar to what we did to these other colors, I want you to take this brown and make different batches of it. So what you would have to do is you're gonna have another brown that's gonna have more blue than any of these other colors, and you're gonna put it here if you want to have an idea of what that would look like. And then you would, of course, you can put it over here and then make a note like more, more blue. And then you're gonna take whatever the brown you created, you're gonna put some to the side, and you're gonna add more yellow. And then make a note to yourself, with more yellow. And then do the same thing with the red and do more red. And then what you guys are also gonna do is you are going to, after you create this wheel, or this color wheel, you're gonna do this all over again. I want you to get used to mixing your paint. But what you're gonna do is you can go on a separate sheet of paper, right? And then you're going to create these mixed colors. You can start off with one color if you want, and you're going to create those shifts, and you're going to create and see how much blue you can add before it becomes more blue than purple, or like way more blue than purple, should I say? Because there's going to be a point where you're just like, okay, it just looks like blue. And you're gonna do the same thing and continue to add more red to the purple until you get to the point where you're just like, okay, well that just looks like a lot of red and not really purple. And I'm gonna give you guys an example real quick. So we have this purple with a red in it, right? So I'm gonna put that down. I'm just gonna do this, right? So that's that reddish purple. So I have that. So what we're gonna do now is I'm going to, where's my palette knife? Where's my palette knife? Here it is. I'm gonna take red. I'm gonna add some more into it. Just a decent amount, not too little, but enough to where it's a little bit of a shift change or a color change. Make sure you mix it well. And then I'm gonna pick that paint up, and I'm gonna go right next to it. And then I'm gonna add more red. And once that red is mixed, clean brush. Remember, don't forget to clean your brush. I'm gonna pick that reddish purple up, and I'm gonna go right next to it. This is why I said you don't need to buy those paint sets that have 20,000 different colors, because you can make those colors just by mixing what you already have with these primary colors. Now we haven't touched the white and black yet to lighten a color or darken a color. We're not going to do that in this lesson. We are just focusing on the primary colors, and that is it, because I want you guys to get used to this. So I'm going to add more red. And like I said, once you get that second in between, you should see that difference. If you don't see a difference, then you're probably not adding enough paint to make the color change. Because by this fourth color change, or by this fourth one, you should definitely see a change from this to what the fourth one's going to be. So we're going to lay that fourth one down. You see how it's even, that's more, it looks like more like a crimson, right? Like almost like, not quite a crimson. Not a crimson. There's another color, I can't think of it. But we're going to add a little bit more red. Mix that together. And you want to do this, and you don't have to make the strokes quite as large as I'm making. I mean, you can make them, if you wanted to, you could do something as simple as this. Pick up the paint, and then just do 1, 2. And you can do something that small. It doesn't have to be huge, right? But once again, what we're going to do, pick up a little bit more red. Add that. And once this paint dries, because it's still wet on my paper, you should definitely see that change in color. So I'm really making sure I'm mixing this paint well on the palette. So remember where we started from. We started from this, and now we're here just by continuing to add red to the paint, right? And then you're going to do the opposite. You're going to go the opposite way. You're going to add more blue, and you're going to do that. And this is probably where I would do. So what I would say is, whatever color you're starting from, do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do 6 shades of adding the color. So if you're doing purple, do at least 6 shades of just adding red, more red to it. If you're doing purple, do 6 shades of adding more blue. Green, 6 shades of adding blue, and then 6 shades of adding yellow. Same thing for orange, 6 shades of adding more yellow, 6 shades of adding more red, and see what you get. And then do the same thing for the brown and see what you guys get as well with that. That's going to be your assignment. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. For your assignments, if you guys want me to see what you're doing, I'm going to write down my Instagram. You guys can tag me if you have an Instagram. That way I can actually see what you guys are doing. So Dragon Imagination _studios for Instagram. So that way I can see what you guys are doing. If you want to post it in, so that way I can just see how it's going. And this will be it. The next one we're going to be doing, we're going to be taking these colors, So we'll be remixing them again. I'm gonna clean off this palette. I'll be remaking these colors, and then we're gonna be adding white to these colors. And then we'll do another video where we're adding black, and you guys can see what we'll have a comparison, because we'll do them on different sheets for each one. So we'll have a separate sheet where we'll just be adding white to the colors, and then we'll have a separate sheet where we're adding black. And that way you'll be able to, for reference, go in and look at your stuff and be like, oh, this is how I created this color. This is how dark I can make it. This is how light I can make it. Or this is what I get when I add more yellow. This is what I get when I add more blue. This is what I get when I add more red. So we'll be doing that next time. I hope this was helpful for you guys. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys want to see. If there's something you don't understand, let me know, and I will give you guys more clarification on that. So peace out. Hope you guys have fun playing with this and experimenting. Do this multiple times if you want. It's completely okay. The more you do it, the easier it's going to get for you, and the quicker you'll be able to do it as well. So I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out. Deuces.